Today we're going to make a super easy raspberry white chocolate mousse. It comes together in under 10 minutes, only has 4 ingredients, and it's the perfect dessert to make ahead, and then it'll be ready for a dinner party or a date night, Valentine's Day, or even a casual buffet. It's a silky smooth white chocolate mousse that tastes like you're eating a white chocolate cloud. It is so light and so decadent and just the perfect end to any meal. Let's get into it. So this is very simple in ingredients and in concept, but it does require a teensy bit of timing. So you want to make sure that you have something to put your mousse in. I'm going to put them in individual trifle containers, but you could certainly, or parfait containers, but you could put them in any bowl. You could put it in one big bowl. Whatever you have, that's what you should use. I've already whipped my heavy cream to stiff peaks, and I'm going to place this in my refrigerator. And then I have just a few ingredients. The raspberries are Garnish, so they can go over there. And then I'm going to take my yolks, and I'm going to place those in my bowl here. And then I'm going to whisk the yolks at the bottom. I just like to break them up, right? It's not a ton of stuff that we're putting in the mixer, and so it's, for this size mixer, it's like a little bit small maybe, so we're going to have to help it a tiny bit. And then I've got sugar, this is just regular granulated sugar, and just a pinch of salt. Now, I just like to go ahead and give it a whisk to mix in the sugar with the yolks initially so that nobody's sitting with just raw sugar, because then the proteins in the egg will kind of coagulate, they'll denature, and they'll almost look cooked, so there'll be like those little bits and pieces. We don't want that. So go ahead and take this and turn it all the way up to high, and we're just going to let this go. We want it to be nice and light and fluffy. We want it to be a pale yellow and basically triple in volume. So then, in the meantime, if you haven't done so already, you can melt your white chocolate. I already did it, and it is cooled basically to body temperature. And so I'm just going to set it over here so we don't do any more time markers. Just make sure that all of that egg sugar situation has been pushed down into the bit that's being whisked. While this is beating, I'm going to break up a few pieces of raspberry and put it in the bottom of my dish because I want that kind of nice layered look. But that's totally optional also. So, as we were. You can see in my bowl, you can see that it is a super light pale yellow. When you drag the whisk across the top of it, you can see that it kind of holds its shape before falling back in. So that is what is called ribbon stage. And this is when we're going to add our chocolate. So we're going to add it all at one time, because if you add it piecemeal, then it'll cool it down and you'll start to get chunks. So we just have to work very quickly here. We're going to add the chocolate, because the chocolate is basically what is going to set this mousse. It is, there's no gelatin or anything in here, so what's setting it is your chocolate. So there we go. Put that in there. This is going to thicken. All right, so we persevered, and we have a very thick, very thick moment here in our bowl. We basically just need to incorporate all of our, I'm basically going to use the whisk. I'm going to take this and I'm going to do what's called sacrificing. I'm going to sacrifice the leavening that is in my heavy cream, like the air that we worked into it, into my chocolate, so that it basically makes the rest of it easier to incorporate. See, that way, so you get something more like that and less like a stiff, batter almost, I would call it. Okay, we will take this beautiful silky situation that we have created, and we will add it to the rest of our whipped cream. Do you see that? Look at that. Now it looks kind of like a cake batter. Awesome. And then we are going to fold. We're going to aggressively fold because it is still cold and the chocolate will want to set, you know, because the heavy cream is straight from the fridge. So it's going to want to set right now in my bowl. So you've got to kind of aggressively fold, more so than you would with like a cake or something like that. Look at that. She is gorge. And all we're going to do now is divide it amongst our dishes. I would say that was the most important step of today's task, is preparation. Now I'm going to just dollop. You know me, I would love to pipe this in here, but I feel like it deflates it so much that it almost kind of defeats the purpose. So this makes 4 generous portions or 6 to 8 normal sized portions. You could also put them in individual little ramekin type situation, like little individual ramekins for like a little buffet or something, at a party. All of these things are possible. Well, that's delightful. Just saying. Okay, I'm gonna smooth this out because you know me, this is very stressful right now. Now I'm gonna work carefully because I don't want it to be all over the sides of the dish. I just want it to be like nice and kind of, you know, cool. Done. Yum. Now I'm gonna let these chill completely before serving and garnishing. If I start to garnish now, they're going to, the raspberries are kind of gonna sink into the mousse. We need to let the mousse set, which means we're gonna pop them in the refrigerator. Honestly, they're gonna set pretty fast. So probably they only need like 30 minutes, but you could definitely make these a couple days ahead of time if you're making them for a party or something like that. So for Valentine's Day. So I'm gonna go ahead, put these in the fridge, and then we'll check back in. All right, and we're back. So the mousse have set about a couple hours. They didn't need to, they were totally set in 30 minutes, but we are now ready to garnish and then to serve them. And by that I mean try them. So you can do whatever you want. They'd be beautiful on their own, but I'm gonna do a little bit of, I believe, you know, kind of like pulled apart, deconstructed, if you will. What are these called? Raspberries. That's what they're called. Obviously, you could just plop some raspberries on top. No one is going to make you do this. In my mind, I'm like, I am not going to get out the tweezers. I am not going to get out the tweezers. That ice, okay. Next step, I believe I'm going to shave a little bit of the white chocolate on top. You could certainly melt it and then make little fans or kind of, you know, they're called cigarettes. You know, just kind of like run your bench scraper along them. But I'm just gonna do just a quick, easy topping. So I'm just gonna kind of use my white chocolate bar. And I'm just gonna use that to kind of make a nice little, tiny little shavings on top. You could also use a microplane or a grater. If you have a fatter bar, then you can get nice big fat chunks too, which was nice as well. Or you can omit this. This is not like necessary. You can put chocolate chips on top. No one's judging. All right. Now, these could be done. They are done. They're gonna taste delicious. The next step isn't going to add any sort of taste, okay? But I'm gonna put gold leaf on it because I just feel like some days you need to gild the lily. And today we're gonna gild our mousse cups because why not make a simple dessert look like you spent years doing it? Now you can buy these on Amazon. You can buy them at specialty cake shops. But the important thing to note is that they are super thin and they will stick to metal. You could use a spoon, you could use, you know, a chopstick. I like to use an offset of any variety. Oh, okay, you wanna go right there? That's okay. And some of working with gold leaf is just knowing that it is gonna land where it lands. And you can, you know, do your best to place it where you want it, but sometimes it just does what it wants, and that's fine. Okay, last one, best one. Okay. Anywhere else that looks like, nope. A little goes a long way, which is nice. And we're done. How nice is that? Look how beautiful these are. So, you know, without further ado, it's time to try with a giant spoon. I'm gonna get my raspberries at the bottom. Nice big bite here. Wow. It is super silky and soft and light and airy, and it just melts in your mouth. It's like just like a pillow of white chocolate. That's what it tastes like. A little bit of raspberry. Wow. Yum.